Let me see this. President Trump, I think the war is very complete, pretty much. They have no navy, no communications, and they've got no air force, Trump said, adding that the United States is very far ahead of this. Okay, so he said the war is very complete. He didn't say over. Did he say over?
He said to
No,
CBS.
no, that was my bad. You got it
Yeah,
right
he
there.
said
Oh,
to
it's okay.
CBS, he said, I think the war with Iran is almost over, more or less.
He didn't say over. He said complete.
Yeah, I heard
He said
complete.
complete. Yeah, so it's not over. So that means, guys, that's not as bad as over.
Like, if you look at CBS, it does like quote, I think the war with Iran is almost over. Not over, but almost over, more or less, quote unquote.
Let me see. I'm not seeing that. Send me the link. But I'm saying it's complete.
Yeah,
So
sorry, I
because
can't leave this app because if I leave the app, I will just leave altogether. But
okay,
after you answer my question, I'll leave and come back and link
yeah,
you
but
up.
this might be in terms of objectives rather than timeline, right? So objectives, you could basically, for example, you might have a 2 months of worth of military operation and complete 90% of the destructions of your enemy's military assets in the first week of the 2 months. So you might be 90%. So you might have to continue for 2 months, but be 90% complete in the first 10 days, for example. I'm saying it could be. I'm not saying it's exactly that or not, but that could be what's happening. So you just imagine a progress bar that goes from a 0 to 90 within the first 10 days, and it goes from 90 to 100 in the next 2 months after that.
I
So you're
just
pretty
got
much complete.
there's an
Did you
addition
hear
to
what I
what he
said?
said. Yeah, but
Oh.
there's an addition to what he said. He said they have no navy, no communications. They have got no air force. He added the U.S. is very far ahead of his initial 4 to 5 weeks timeline.
So that adds to my point, right? Because he's measuring in accomplishments rather than timeline, right? Rather than like when it comes to completion, he's talking about how much has been done. He didn't give any timeline for when this will be completely done, right? He's talking about what they have been taken out. So we'll see. But given, let me go to your second question. I didn't communicate anything regarding being sure whether America will do this or won't do this, right? In the video that I put out there that you're referring to, I was talking about for Iranian people to protect their borders, they need to first become free. And if they want to be free, the only way for us to do so is to support President Trump's military operation, for us to basically untie our hands, and then we will be in a position to protect our borders. Basically, he's talking about whether President Trump is going to do this or that. Maybe he will do something that would be against our national interests or against our borders at a time where he's providing the only help for us to become free. Is basically really bad strategy wise. Like imagine if somebody's getting raped and somebody's coming helping you, and they're like, oh, what if he rapes me after he gets rid of this person? I'm like, okay, well then I mean you're getting raped right now. So are you going to say something against him so that maybe he doesn't help you? You know what I mean? Like I'm saying we have to focus, we have to focus on one thing at a time, thinking about what President Trump might do against our borders at a time that he's the only help that we have right now, the only chance that we have right now to get out of. I mean, here's what I know. If the Islamic Republic continues, I know our borders are going to get challenged. Okay. So we're exchanging and what if with the certainty of our borders being challenged if we continue to remain under the Islamic Republic. What you're talking about is possibilities of things that could happen. What we have to be more concerned is the certainty of the weakness of our country if we continue to be under the Islamic Republic, and how much our borders will be vulnerable if we do so. I mean, the places that you mentioned, for example, have already been challenged. Like the list that you gave me, okay? So we know that the countries around the Persian Gulf have already been challenging some of those places, and they want to take that from the Islamic Republic and add it to their own territory. That has already happened. And as if the Islamic Republic continues and makes our country weaker and weaker and weaker and makes us even more bankrupt, at some point, they're not going to be able to resist against any of these claims. So get us to a place where we could become a strong, independent country where we have a say internationally to defend these territories. And by to do that, we have to focus on giving the political capital to the only person that right now has the ability to remove the barriers from our path to get to that position.
To be honest, like I've been following you and Goldie for a while now. You guys calm me down in regard of like, okay, be grateful and calm down and all that. But sometimes I feel like you guys take it so far, as in like we have to just bend down and say okay to whatever fuck happens. And I think that's also not wise, because that's also not what Prince Reza Pahlavi is doing. I think like he literally defended and said like, we, about our territories and about how we choose our leaders. I think we should also speak up and say thank you, we are very thankful, but no thank you, we're going to choose our own leaders, or these are our islands or whatnot. Otherwise, when they take it, we can't take it back anymore. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, but are they taking it? Are they
Well,
choosing our leaders?
when
So
he says like, I don't know if the map is going to be the same. I don't think so. Well, yeah,
so that's
makes
not
me
that's not the
nervous.
same as taking it. So that's not what you described though. That's not what you
No, no,
described. They're
no,
not
exactly.
taking
It's
it.
not. It's all vague. It's all so vague. It could be this. It could be that. But he's mentioning that he doesn't think that the map would be the same. And I think
So
if
let
we
me.
have this
I
approach,
heard that part. So let me respond. Let me respond. I heard that part. You already.
okay.
I also read what he said. I also listened to what he said, so I know exactly what he said. Right. So this is not about bending over, because if this is bending over and not responding, then every country is bending over to every other country in that, based on that metric, right? Everybody relies on other countries. And if you're talking about Princess of Pahlavi, Princess of Pahlavi hasn't attacked President Trump for saying that. So you're like, oh, but Princess of Pahlavi does this and that. Has he attacked President Trump for saying that? President Princess of Pahlavi just came out with a thank you message. So
I didn't
if
say
you are
he
using,
attacked. I
if
said
you're
he
using
addressed.
what?
I didn't say he attacked. I said he does address these points while saying thank you. That's what I said.
Have we okay? So Ariana, you're not. I don't know if you're not understanding what I'm saying. Have we not addressed these points? We have addressed these points. I have been always putting out messages regarding that red line that is the border integrity of Iran. So what you're asking me, what you're saying I should be doing, is saying that in response as a criticism to President Trump. Princess of Pahlavi hasn't done that. You're saying he has addressed that. Well, we have addressed that. We follow his model. So this is you're comparing apples to oranges. I'm saying we don't address that as a criticism to Trump, because he has never said that he's going to be challenging Iran's border integrity. You're saying Princess of Pahlavi has done that. No, Princess of Pahlavi has communicated the importance of the border integrity of Iran, and so have we. Has Princess of Pahlavi attacked or criticized President Trump in response to what he said?
But
Because if he
that's not
does,
my
then we will do
stand
the same.
anyways. I am not talking about attacking.
So what am I doing? What are you doing? What am I doing? You're saying that we're bending the knee too much, or we're
Oh no,
bending
no,
over
no.
too
I'm
much.
not
What?
saying that you. I'm not saying for me. I'm putting it on myself. I'm saying for me. I'm listening to you and Goldie, but sometimes I feel like should we have this approach that whatever Trump says, that we like say, oh, thank you, Mr. Trump, thank you, and let it pass by when it's too late, when he does take something? Or should we approach it like we do address it more often when he says stuff, scary stuff like, oh, the map is not going to be the same. I don't think it's going to be the same. It's a question, it's not criticism to you.
But I already heard the line, so we don't need to hear the line. We already know what the line is. Okay, so let me. I understand. Your question is that should we be addressing that? We have addressed that, but you have to be careful with the way you address it, right? So look at people like Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio, and also Prime Minister Netanyahu, and compare that to the way Zelensky approached President Trump, right? So with President, hey, so Ariana, like it or not, President Trump is the most powerful man in the world, right? Understanding what works when it comes to trying to get an information to him is a key part of this information warfare and the battle of narratives, right? So when we're trying to succeed, we have to dismiss our ego, right? So anybody who thinks that some saying thank you to somebody and being appreciative and grateful, if it hurts our ego, even when you understand that this is the thing that we need to be doing, then that any person who feels like that is not fit for this type of battle. Only the people who understand that what the right messaging is, regardless of what you feel emotionally about, like this hurts my ego, if you can't put that aside and say and do the things exactly that gets us the best answer, only those people will be able to succeed. And the other people who are thinking like, oh, he said something wrong, so I want to lash out, they are a cost, they're a drag, they're going to hurt our cause, right? So think about it. Like President Zelensky, when he sat next to President Trump was saying things that he did not like, and he lashed out. He lashed out, and that did not go in his favor. President Trump says sometimes certain things that, as if I was an Israeli, okay, I would not like it. Like sometimes he says stuff that does not really go completely in line with Israeli national interests. But Prime Minister Netanyahu has been a lot better when it comes to responding to President Trump than, for example, President Zelensky. Does he need a response? Does he need corrections? Does he need to be informed? Yes, but you need to be strategic. You need to, because if that correction comes in a way that seems ungrateful, because to be honest, you have to be grateful. These are resources of a country that we do not belong to, paid for the citizens of that country. This is the money this is the wealth that they work for. People went to work, people put hours producing things, and they pay taxes for it, and that is now being used to liberate your country, our
Yeah,
country,
but that's
protect
not
our
what he
citizens.
says, though. He never has
let me
ever
fi-
said
let
that.
me let me finish, but reply once I'm finished, please. Okay?
Okay.
Because I lose my train of thought when somebody interrupts me. So when somebody says something that is not in line with what you want to hear, while they're doing so much more than anybody than to help the citizens of your country, if that correction comes in a way that is ungrateful, then that person is going to lose the political capital required to continue to helpful. So I'm not saying you're doing that, but people should not misrepresent what I'm saying as if we should completely ignore it. We should not respond. We should not correct people. Okay, if somebody says something that is not completely in line with what we want to, just let it be and shut up and just take it. I'm not saying that. There needs a responding. There needs to be a correction. You just have to be strategic. When President Trump became the president in at the beginning of his term, he was very much into the isolationist camp. Like he was, which was completely against Israel's national interests. Prime Minister Netanyahu didn't lash out. After so many meetings with President Trump, he strategically eventually got President Trump to be on the same camp of Israel, and now Israel, United States and Israel are completely aligned, and they're in the same side again. Okay, if Prime Minister Netanyahu reacted badly and lashed out against all of the original positions that President Trump had at the beginning of his term, he wouldn't have him right now on his side. So we have to learn from that. So yes, you're right. Does this need a responding? Yes. Do we need correction? Do we need to communicate how important it is, not just for us? Actually, what we need to communicate even more is not what Iranian people want. Okay, we need to communicate for why this is good for Americans and Israelis. So we can't just go out and say, like, we care about our national borders, we need to preserve our borders. Okay, why should the whole world just listen to what we want? We need to also tell them why preserving Iran's borders is good for Israel, why it's good for America. That's how we need to communicate. That's what so we need to tell people this. You're right, we need to respond, but we just need to be strategic about it. Okay, go on.
Yeah, so I never meant to say lashing out. That would be a straw man to my position. Lashing out, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is indeed what you just said in the end, like addressing versus saying, because somehow I felt like in this whole episode today that you said something, if they're going to take something, then correct me if I'm wrong, but you said something, if they're going to take something, then so be it. And they were talking about another island. And that was a little shocking to me. I was like,
Okay, so
what?
I need to move on. I need to move on. Let me respond to this. First of all, never, never have I said that. Never,
About the other
ever have I.
island today.
So this is. I'm not going to calm down. I'm running out of time. I need to go back to the show. There are people on the list that I have not yet responded to, and if you want people to calm down, the worst thing you could ever tell them is to calm down. Anybody who tells somebody else to calm down is actually not interested in them calming down. So let me tell you, no, don't tell me to calm down. I respect the other people who are on the list here. So if you interrupt me, I am going to tell you to stop so I could finish my thoughts so I could get to the other people on the list. So let me just correct you and then I'll get to the other people here. Okay, first of all, one, never have I ever said that if they take an island from us, so be it. Never have I said that. I don't even know where you got that from. Never have I said that. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, also when I said we shouldn't be lashing out, when you said that's a straw man of what I said, I'm not just responding to you. This is being recorded. I'm saying this for anybody else who might be wanting to lash out. So I'm not just responding to you. I'm just basically talking about the general strategy that I am talking about. But yes, but just to clarify, never have I said ever that, oh, if they want to take an island, let them take it. I actually have said that we need to get to Iran to a position where nobody could even consider challenging our border integrity. We need to become a prosperous, strong country where we have the economic resources to pay for a very strong military so that we could actually defend. Because it's not America's responsibility to protect our borders, it's not Israel's responsibility to protect our borders, it's our responsibility to protect our borders. So let's get free first and then have a strong, powerful country that gets to a position where we could actually protect our borders. It's our responsibility. It's no one else's responsibility. And if we're free, prosperous, and strong, we will be able to do that. Okay. So let's move on to the list. And yeah, and guys, everybody, again, I don't mean to disrespect anybody here, but when I'm speaking, please do not interrupt me. Thank you.
As a reminder, Mr. Jeffrey stays a little bit after Armin leaves, and he can continue on some of these topics as well. Next, we have Dajjal.
Can we go really fast? Because, and I also saw Rebecca here for was raise her hand for the first time. So I just want to make sure that we answer new people here as well. And Dajjal, can you keep it very short because I'm already ahead of time, like over time.
Yeah, actually, if Rebecca wants to go ahead, I'll let her do that.
Yeah, can we do the new people who haven't spoken yet first before we go to?
Yeah, so I believe the new people, Rajiv.
By the way, totally agreed, Armin.
Thank you. Did Rebecca leave? Did she rage quit? I don't know.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Can I speak?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Really short because I'm out of time.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, I'm seeing it from Indian sides, and here the analysts are saying that Russia involved in it, and it will not let go Iran so easily. It is getting drones from Iran to help in its war. So how do you see Russian involvement and the Chinese ones?
Well, I haven't seen the Russians helping the Islamic Republic, but if they are, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I haven't seen that. So if you want to share the link, I will take a look at it, but I don't think it's going to make much of a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to make much of a difference. I did before this started. I did predict that if they want to help, they're not obviously they're not going to get involved directly militarily themselves. But I did predict that if they do want to get involved, they would just give some ammunition to the Islamic Republic and maybe some military assets or maybe some intelligence, just so to they increase the cost for the United States, just so that they could see how their weapons performs in a war, in a military operation, and also just to see what Americans, maybe intelligence support, will help the Russians or the Chinese for them to basically see how America's military operates in a war like this. But I don't think it's going to make much of a difference, and I don't think the Russia and Chinese think that the Islamic Republic is going to survive this. But they might want to collect as much information as possible from it and increase the cost to Americans.
Okay.
Your mic doesn't open. You could give permission on your browser to your microphone.
It's a button on the bottom left of the screen. It's right next
Oh,
to.
he's typing.
How's your video on?
Yeah, he's video on, but he's not opening his microphone.
You might also have to select the microphone from the drop-down menu on the arrow beside the microphone. But maybe just type your question since we're already way over time.
Maybe his browser doesn't have permission.
While we wait, Danny, do you want to read Colin's question, please? Because that's a new person as well.
Okay, he just asked in chat if there's a difference between Sunni Sharia and Shia Sharia.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I mean, they even pray differently. So by the way, Sharia is not just law. Sharia is basically everything that you're supposed to do, right? So a lot of people think like Sharia just means Islamic law or divine law. I mean, the way you brush your teeth, for example, in Islam is also Sharia. For example, like in Shia Islam, we have that when you go to the washroom, you have to enter the washroom with your left leg, not your right leg, right? So basically, everything you do in Islam, supposed to do, whether it's part of the law or not, like, or maybe also personal, your personal life, that's Sharia as well. So, for example, one of the most visible differences in Shia Sharia and Sunni Sharia is when they do salat or when they're basically praying. So the Sunnis, for example, when they're praying, when they're standing, they have their hands like this, right? And the Shias, they have their hands down like this. So that's the difference. So there's a lot of differences. Like there are libraries, like giant libraries filled with Islamic jurisprudence and fiqh that you could fill like multiple libraries with, and the Sunni one will be very different from the Shia one. Not only that, but in Sunni school of thoughts, where you have like four different Sunni school of thoughts as well. So like like Hanafi, Shafi'i, Hanbali. So within Sunni school of thought, there's also a difference between the fiqh and jurisprudence and Sharia. I mean, within Shia, there's a lot of difference between Shias as well. There's many different Shias. I mean, even within the same sect of Shia, you might have two different marjas, and one marja will tell you something is a sin, and another thing is halal, and a different marja will tell you no, that's not halal, that's a sin. So even within Shia Islam, but in the same sect, if you have two different marjas, you're going to have different teachings and different things that are sins and different things that are halal. So yeah, lots of differences. I feel bad that what was her name? Ariane. What was her name? She got upset and left. Was I in the
Ariana.
wrong, guys? Like
Ariana Mazda.
Ariana was.
Ariana
Okay,
Mazda. I'm not sure
was
if
I in the
that's her
wrong?
real name.
Yeah.
It was just a stupid misunderstanding. I think she believed that when we said that the US might seize the island, she thought that we meant like they
No,
might
like
annex
no.
it.
That part.
So
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that part. I'm talking about the part that I told her not to interrupt me, and she told me to calm down, and then I told her, "Don't tell me to calm down." Like, do
and
you guys think
yeah,
I was?
no, I don't think so. But I think she was new here. We all know that we can't interrupt you. I'm actually just like you. If someone interrupt me, I just go blank, and I have to struggle to go back on the. So
yeah, I lose my chain of thought.
So
exactly. Yeah. Okay.
she did the
All
quick
right.